Where are you from?
I'm from Montreal, born and raised. How about you?
Fun. I'm from Edmonton in Alberta. What kind of teenager were you? What kind of trouble did you get into? What's your...
None whatsoever. I was like the good little student. How about you?
I was not the golden child. Yeah.
So how was it? You were rebellious, but how did you come to like need to talk to someone about stuff that happened?
I think for a lot of years, I kind of chalked it up to just teenage angst. I didn't have any desire to befriend or be vulnerable with anyone. My friend, she was this really loud, annoying girl in my home economics class. And she kind of looked at me and like saw that I was this angry, bad kid, and she adopted me and she was like, I'm gonna be your friend. And I was like, I don't really want to be your friend. If I was by myself and I kept everything on my own shoulders and I didn't share that weight, then no one can disappoint me and nobody can hurt me and nobody can use that against me. And she kind of taught me that like, there's a better way to do this and you don't have to do it alone.
For me, it was mainly a friend of mine who, they seemed to be doing really well and, you know, performing and doing the extracurriculars and being like always on top of everything. And at some point they came to me and were like, it's not going well. I have all of this anxiety about everything. They opened up to me, and at first it was a little bit stressful because you never really know what to say when someone comes to you with stuff like that at first. But it got to a point where like I was getting anxious, like thinking about like, should I have said something different? Should I have done something more, something less?
Is your friend okay now?
Yeah, they're doing better.
So how did you help them?
I think at first it was just listening and really just believing them. When we talked about it later on, they told me that what they were fearful of was me just glossing over everything and saying like, no, you got it together. Like, what are you talking about? So I'm glad teenage me didn't do that. So I think just listening and validating their feelings was the best I could do then.
That's a big, and especially I think as kids, you don't always have the tools to, like, how is a 15-year-old supposed to help someone who's going through a crisis?
Like when the floodgates opened and they told me everything that was going on, I was like, well, you're wearing a really good mask, like 24 hours a day.
You would have never known.
Yeah, and we ended up seeing like a counselor at the school who was
together. Like you went with them.
Yeah, well, I didn't stay the whole time afterwards because that would have been weird. But yeah, we did go to the counselor, and we were like, well, we'll see. Siri was saying that your friend kind of adopted you, but how did she help you? What kind of things did she do?
Honestly, there wasn't like a moment like you and your friend where, you know, everything kind of fell apart, but it was more just, she just showed up for me in ways that no one had really shown up for me before. So it was, I remember one day she literally said to me, she looked at me and she said, McKenzie, we can do this the hard way or we can do this the easy way, but we're gonna be friends. And I was like, you know what, you're not so bad. Like, you got a lot of gusto to, she really made a point to try to be my friend. So I was like, I'll give you a shot. And she just will go out of her way to make me feel seen. And over time you build that rapport of realizing that people do care about you. And it seems cliche, but it does take just like that one comment, that one good feeling to change somebody's, in my case, my life. Did your friend ever tell you that affected them and like how that affected them in hindsight, or what do you think about?
Maybe like 5 years after that like breakdown happened, I remembered that we talked about it, and they said like that it made them feel less alone to be able to speak to someone. And so when I heard that, I was like, okay, all right. Maybe I didn't do everything perfectly, but at least I helped the way that I could at the time.
It matters.
Like in retrospect, how important do you think what your friend did was?
It was the simplest and the most important thing that ever happened in my life, I think. That action of seeing me and then acting on that, it fostered one of the greatest support systems and friendships. And I'm really lucky to have had her, and I'm really lucky that she was so annoying and persistent and just wanted to love me.